Oh boy, do I have an oddly specific one for you this week. I bet you'll find at least some parallels to your personal situation. Maybe it's a boat, maybe it's housing, but you, like me, are passionate about something that could possibly make other people's lives better. You're looking at one of a few rows of T-hangars at the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport. Notice anything abnormal?
Right now, a fully fueled aircraft caught on fire inside a hangar near the Savannah airport this afternoon. The fire was knocked down and overhaul began on scene. Right now, the extent of the damage is unclear.
Well, in August of 23, this entire row either burned down or suffered heavy smoke damage, displacing a handful of the remaining tenants and destroying several of their airplanes. Things happen. That's what insurance is for. But what hits the hardest on this is at an airfield that had 1.9 million enplanements in the 2023 fiscal year, this is the last remaining row of hangars for locals. There are a few other privately built hangars that exist, but if we're roughly counting from a Google Earth perspective, Savannah has maybe 40 Part 91 owner-operators. Think Pipers and Cessnas, not Learjets, Beechjets, and King Airs. Several groups like the Savannah Area Aviation Association and the local EAA Chapter 1514 have been trying to energize and enhance grassroots aviation, but as far as I can tell, there's not a real effort to protect and promote how great this area can be beyond the 12 group chats that I always find myself in. It's an issue of infrastructure. Build it and they will come. The waitlist for hangars across the United States is probably a football field long, if anyone remembers to write down your position on that list 3 years ago. But of course, if the decisions are left up to the mega corporate FBOs expecting to make big money on Jet A and corporate aviation, then what hope is there for the 100 low-lead or unleaded burning, bug-smashing spam cans like mine? I mean, we're flying around for hamburgers, not carrying anyone or anything for profit. We gather and launch when there are natural disasters. We show people from every walk of life that they can do this too. We volunteer to conduct angel flights and pet rehomings, search and rescue missions for your loved ones, and the odd water balloon drop competition. That's a weird one, I admit. It's difficult to do all of these things, though, when we're not attracting the next great talent to this hobby. I haven't even mentioned gas at Savannah from the FBO's very busy fuel truck is about $7.60 per gallon, and there's been no self-serve fuel for years. So I end up flying 10 minutes down the road where it's about $4.75 a gallon, and the people there smile when they see airplanes. Do you think making these videos has been easy? Okay, pause. I didn't think of this until right now, but here's an example of an easy airport to pick on. John Wayne Airport. It's one of the busiest general aviation airports in the United States, in California. It's right now advertising gas at $6.57 a gallon, a whole dollar less than Savannah. What? I live in a place that looks like this. So you know who comes here? Tourists. You know how they get here? By airplane. You know who designs airplanes? Kids who become engineers. You know who flies airplanes? Kids who become pilots. You know how kids become pilots? Through general aviation. You know who fixes airplanes? Maintenance professionals. You know who pays taxes? Kids, engineers, pilots, maintenance professionals, tourists. It's a symbiotic relationship between aviation and tourism, aviation and education, aviation and taxes, including county and city property taxes that I still need to pay for this year. Yeah, I need to go do that. I texted so many people when General Aviation's own favorite uncle, Mike Patey, announced on YouTube the Patey Aviation Business Park in Spanish Fork, Utah. It's a $100+ million investment that broke ground sometime last year and has been selling out spaces, according to him. Here's what Mike had to say to a KSL journalist. The community benefits because we can bring hundreds and hundreds of jobs to the community, and that money just flows. The pilots and planes may be from all over the country, but the money drops here in Spanish Fork. Amazing. We love you, Mike. So after years of complaining on social media and texting my friends memes to try to do something about it, I decided to do something different and invite you to come along.
What is this guy doing? Recording? Nice job. We are going to City Hall. There's only one way to get stuff done, and that's to protest. Let's go. Yeah, exactly.
You do know it's Sunday, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm on my way to a city meeting where I'm really hoping they give people the opportunity to talk about what's going on in their lives and what's best for the city. And you know what I'm going to bring up? General aviation. Don't sleep on general aviation. I'm going to try to get as much footage as I can. Actually, no, I'm probably just going to pay attention, but I'm going to let you know what I do and what I hear. Let's see what happens.
We think that means that the city should be dedicated to expanding economic security for all residents by ensuring everyone has fair access to economic opportunities.
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to share with us some of the ideas that you have, and I'll begin with you.
And then my last one is pretty specific, but it's to support local general aviation at the local airport.
General aviation at the local airport.
Yeah. Locals don't have access to anything that looks like flying or fixing or learning or building or designing an airplane, right? I'm talking kids to adults, and aviation and access to people is exactly how to promote that. So that's been my one track approach to trying to get more economic security for all residents. That was my big one. Yeah.
I like that.
I know several people who've been looking locally for airplanes, but they just fall short because they're dissuaded by the lack of hangars and other infrastructure. Maybe they should look at my How to Buy an Airplane series and realize that a hangar isn't necessary, but $300 for an open-ear tie-down isn't exactly a friendly environment either. Don't take my word for it. Here's one of my great friends and a local aviator who has done his fair share of work to find solutions to these issues.
All right.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you, Juwanza.
So we're going to be talking with one of my greatest friends, Ted, about his experience here at Savannah and general aviation in the local area. So go ahead and introduce yourself, tell the people who you are, and a little bit about your experience with GA here in Savannah.
Yeah. So I'm Ted Meyer. I've been here in Savannah since about 2010. I've owned this airplane you see behind me since about 2017. So that puts me out at the airport here for a little over 15 years as an airplane owner for about 7 of those years. Started out in some T-hangars that were owned by the FBO. And a group of us were actually booted out of there as some redevelopment happened. We were able to find this hangar, which is this bay plus the bay next door, and rent that directly from the airport. So ended up inadvertently becoming a hangar operator as well. And so now this facility houses 5 different airplanes, including my own, and really proud to be able to continue what has been started here and hopefully bring it into its next phase. So, yeah.
So go ahead and tell us about your experience with SAAA, founding SAAA, what it is, what it stands for, who you guys are. I'm a member, but they want to know. So
SAAA is the Savannah Area Aviation Association. It basically encompasses the needs of all of the local airplane owners and pilots in the area. It was really a suggestion of AOPA to do this. when we had some of the beginning issues in Savannah that cropped up with lease terminations back in 2020, AOPA stepped in and was very helpful in helping us facilitate that meeting, helping us figure out what to do. Ultimately, their message to us, though, was that as a nationally focused organization, they don't have the resources necessarily to get into every local situation. And so the best way to do that is to found an organization that is local, that can have those relationships with the local leaders and kind of communicate those local issues. Yeah. The biggest issue that you probably face as a general aviation pilot is that you are working really hard or running a business or something like that to be able to afford your airplane. And so you might not necessarily be able to make it to the meeting at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday or something like that, whereas all the other interests that support the airport are there.
Right.
So I think the challenge that a lot of us face is our needs kind of go unnoticed sometimes, and we sort of get forgotten about. So SAAA is a way to organize all that together. We all kind of need the same things, so let's represent ourselves and pull together for better support.
Yeah. But tell me, what's next? What's your next step? What are you trying to do right now?
It's been a long road to get here. It sounds like a lot of work, and it is, to put together an organization like this and build those relationships, but that's what we've been doing over the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Those are bearing fruit in the form of invitations to participate in different discussions with the way that the airport's going to be managed and planned in the future. A big process that goes on at every airport across the country is an airport master plan. That's a process that sets out how the land will be used at the airport for the next decade or more. And so we're beginning to take part in the redevelopment of the master plan for Savannah. And the goal of that for us would really be opening up some dedicated areas of land on the airport for general aviation hangar development and other needs like that that we can use that are perhaps separate from the FBOs or in addition to the FBOs, just so that we can round out that family of needs and services that are provided, because it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Correct.
So
yeah. You know, you live downtown, I live, you know, maybe a 2-minute drive away from you. Everyone who has an airplane here lives somewhere within this county or a neighboring county, right? The money stays here, the money's developed here, it's pumped back into the local economy. And it's almost comical that we're not taking advantage of that, right? Ourselves, right? So we're trying to do everything we can for the local economy by, you know, using our bug smashers to raise, you know, raise awareness and actually help out the community that we live in, right?
Yeah, and I think one of the most important things that you can understand when it comes to the airport and how the different land is used is different people use and need different things. So for example, an FBO is a great general aviation services provider, but it doesn't meet everyone's needs all the time. So for example, when I'm traveling with this airplane, I use an FBO when I'm on the road, just the way I stay in a hotel when I'm on the road, right? But when I'm at home, I stay in my house. And when I'm home in Savannah, the airplane needs would be better served to stay somewhere that is perhaps away or separate from that, where we don't necessarily need, you know, 24/7 full service assistance on everything, and that can help us keep costs under control and keep aviation viable for more people. So that's
I love it. I love what you're doing. I'm a huge fan. You and I are kind of fighting towards the same end goal, you know, and it's like we're just supporting each other. I just happen to have the camera, but that's about all that it comes down to. But Ted, thank you so much for your time. I think what you're doing is fantastic.
Thanks.
If you can, you know, do things like this, right? Form your own little association, and if you've got any interest in finding out about how this was formed and what SAAA is doing, how do we find SAAA online? That's a good question.
SAVpilots.org is our website. So I think establishing a website is a big driver for this. You know, because every airport's different, your situation's going to be different. You know, for a lot of you that are looking to buy an airplane or maybe have just bought an airplane and you're trying to find a hangar, just finding the hangar is the hard part, right? That all plays into how viable keeping an airplane is going to be for you. It's a huge factor, honestly. You know, we've seen our rent increase from, I believe it was $350 is what I was paying in 2017. And now we're looking at about $850 for a spot in this hangar just to kind of cover costs. And then some of the FBOs have quoted north of $2,000 for a light general aviation airplane, which, kind of tips the scales for a lot of us.
Well, look, I really want to thank you for your time, because it's not easy having a full-time job, flying around like you do, and then still taking all of the time to try to figure out all this other stuff. So thank you for showing up today, but also thank you for showing up all the other times, right?
I really appreciate it. It's one of those things where, if I can solve the problem for myself, I might as well solve it for more people. And if one of us is going to do the work, it might as well benefit all of us. So I'm really happy to do it. So thanks for having me on. Yeah.
Thanks again, man. Great to see you, buddy.
Yep. Appreciate it.
Things cost money, so here's a firm and clear statement that I'm not asking for anything for free. Just access to the information and the discussions of the long-term viability of general aviation in this area would do it. And because I'm not one to bring a problem without also bringing solutions, I've done my homework. I just need a willing and authorized teacher to review it. Okay, let's take a quick pause because I can feel the heat already. I waited until now to take this moment because the algorithm wanted you to still be here. Okay, you ready? Let's do this. Sorry to steal your thunder, keyboard warriors, but let me get this out there before you do. Wah, your privilege is showing. Aw man, first world problems. Wah, where will you ever park your expensive private airplane and do your pointless hobby? Wah, we have better things to do right now. Wah, I miss the old Jawanza. Did that feel good? Anyways, I'll wait for you to start your own YouTube channel about something that you're passionate about. I make these videos because general aviation should have an open source element to it. Put things in the open so that you and yours can be informed, apply some critical thinking, and then use my examples for your own life. So here's your call to action. Let me know in the comments what pains you about your local aviation scene, and let's talk about it. Respectfully, of course. Then, if you know someone like, say, I don't know, the mayor of Savannah, send him a link to this video, or just use this as a jump-off point for your own peaceful protest, because these things matter. The foundation of progress and economic growth in a city that depends on, or could in the future depend on, aviation matters. And it starts by protecting the freedoms of the people who hold these activities and their outcomes dear. Now, go help your community thrive. Show up to that town hall meeting that's somehow always suspiciously scheduled at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. I mean, we've got things to do. But anyways, we'll see you next time. Should I face this way or
Whatever you want.